Welcome to Wellness Wonderland, your holistic wellness hub. Join us as we dive into the realms of alternative medicine, mindfulness, spirituality, and everything in between. I'm your host, Nicole George, and today we have Javier with us. Javier has loved reflexology since the age of 8 years old. He's certified in foot, hand, ear, face, chakra, and chi reflexology and integrates traditional Chinese medicine into his practices. Javier's passion is helping people release trauma through non-invasive techniques, constantly exploring new methods to support others on their wellness journeys. I had the most incredible encounter with him, and I had a beautiful reflexology session and had to have him on the podcast. Javier, I'm so happy that you're here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're amazing. Your passion for what you do is truly I'm so interested in reflexology and I want to just kind of dive into it with you and learn more just because your enthusiasm for your craft is amazing and it's contagious and everyone needs to know you. You're awesome. You're such a light.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you got into this at 8. That's such a young age. Can you what was your journey into the world of reflexology? And actually, let's start with what is reflexology if people don't know what that is?
So there is a reflective map on your hands, your face, your ears, and your feet. And I use these reflective maps and use acupressure points to stimulate homeostasis and balancing in the body. So reflexology is a great for stress relief, for increasing circulation, and it can help balance the body. So, like for example, if you have organs that are overworking, like if you're stressed out, your adrenals are always very, very activated. My job is to kind of just like, hey, let's help you calm down. Like, let's help you process correctly. So
Mm,
that's what I do.
that's awesome. So different acupressure points in the body correlate with different organs or different ailments or different energy centers, right?
Yes, and one of the things I just went to a reflexology conference back in April, and I saw this beautiful presentation, and this lady basically just like it's like, oh my God, that's where reflexology comes from. So when you're a baby in your mother's womb, your brain forms, and then the next thing that forms is your nervous system, and it ends in your hands and in your feet, and then afterwards your organs are formed. So literally that's how reflexology works is by going through your nervous system, it's through your circulatory system, and with traditional Chinese medicine also through the meridians.
That's so cool. Like everything is truly connected. Like
Yes.
cool. So what got you into this practice at such a young age? Like what
well
called you to this?
so when I was a kid, I would, being so small, I would look at people's feet and literally go like, you have a headache and oh, your back is hurting, or like, oh man, you're stressed out, or just different things. So I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and my aunt came to visit from Texas. And apparently, I think my mom had told her about like what I was doing. And it's like, I think he might be interested in something. So this is the card that she originally gave me. I have had this since I was 8 years old. I actually had to get it relaminated.
Wow.
But she gave me this card, and I'll zoom it into the camera a little bit. In this card, it talks about like just reflexology basics, and in this side, on the other side, it actually talks about different ailments like menstrual cycles, immune systems, even hiccups, the flu, all of that stuff. And I was just like, oh, that totally makes sense. Immediately was like, ask my family, say, oh man, let me work on your feet and stuff like that. And so this was the map that this little card became my Bible. It became like my favorite thing. And I will always practice it on my family. And then, being a kid, I was always a little bit shy and stuff, but from time to time, I'm like, hey, friend, can I try something on you? And would it be okay if I work on your feet real quick? And then I wouldn't tell them what I was doing, but I would watch for their reactions. I'm like, okay, so they just got really like relaxed, or it's like, oh, they were sniffly, but they're not sniffling anymore. So I'm like, oh, so this stuff works. And I was always experimenting. So that's how I got into reflexology at a young age. And nobody in Puerto Rico knew what reflexology was
Wow.
at the time. Even massage therapists were like, what is that? What are you talking about?
Right. So you just had this inner knowing which is so cool. And it sounds like you're just, I mean, I know from experience, you're a very intuitive healer. Like you just know about the person, and that's amazing. Like you have a gift, you truly do. And I love that your family was so supportive of you at such a young age and like really allowed you to allowed and guided you and supported you into this path, because I think it's what you're meant to do here. It's
Yeah,
cool.
especially my mom and aunt. I have an aunt that this is not the same aunt, it's a different aunt, but she always let me work on her, and I would always help her with like symptoms of depression or symptoms of stress. She used to suffer from kidney stones and stuff, so I would work her kidneys to kind of like help and relax, and she it always make her feel better.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it.
Mhm.
That's so cool. So what has your journey over the years of reflexology been? Like you started at 8, you started trial and error with your family and your friends, which I wish I knew you back then because guinea pig me all day.
Oh, I mean, I always am looking for guinea pigs because I'm always like testing something. I'm always learning something new. But the way my journey kind of started, so being a kid, nobody knowing what I was doing and everything, but always practicing. My biggest support is probably my mom. For my 18th birthday, my mom got me a chakra reflexology class. It was just a weekend class. It showed me a protocol and it taught me about the chakras and Reiki and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is really neat. And it got me into the energy work aspects of like listening more, opening myself more to different concepts
Mm.
and stuff like that. And I've always practiced it on the side. Actually, when I always knew that I wanted to move to the States and I was working from a very young age, and what I would do is I would go to the beach and I'm like, free reflexology sessions. I mean, I wasn't certified. I'm like I'm doing this when I'm 17.
Right.
And I mean, people would give me great tips. And I remember the last person, it was a guy who gave me a session and he gave me $200 because I basically helped him with his back pain. And I'm
Wow.
like, oh, this is amazing. And it was like the last part that I needed. So, and when I was 21, I did a pitch to my parents and I moved to the States. Of course, everybody told me I had to work for corporate America. So at first, I wanted to be a Disney animator because I learned English by watching the Disney Channel.
I love it.
And then the recession started, so I did not get that job. But then I have worked in so many different jobs, but always on the side asking friends, it's like, hey, I know reflexology and I can see that you're stressed out. Can I help you? And when I was an animator, I always noticed the correlation of the movement of the feet with the body movement. So that was always still very in depth. I'm like, okay, this is just very important. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. I want to do reflexology, but people tell me I'm just not going to make it.
Mm.
I actually lived in Colorado for a bit and I went to try and get a certificate for reflexology. And I went to a massage school. And at first it was just like, oh man, this is really awesome. And then I have met my teacher and I'm like, I think I may know more reflexology than my teacher. And that's because they're a massage therapist. And in massage school, you only get very little training when it comes to reflexology. I mean, my certificate was 9 months. Only 1 month was reflexology class. Everything else was anatomy. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is not for me.
Right.
Um, I moved over here, and in 2020 being such a devastating year, I lost my mom due to COVID, and I lost my job at Wells Fargo. And my fiance was like, okay, so your identity just got destroyed. Huge mama's boy. Okay. I'm like, and then I dove into my work and then I got fired. I'm like, oh my God, what am I now? And my fiance, Shelly, she gave me the space to, it's like, why don't you go what you always wanted to do? Go be a reflexologist. I will hold the bills until you get your training. And I met my teacher, Cindy, at Salisbury, the master of reflexology, president of the NCRA. And she taught me way more than I expected. I'm like, for me, my whole life is always about the feet. I mean, the feet are my specialty. And then she's like, but there's more reflective maps and there's so much more that you can do. And each map is good for this and this and this. Like the face is great for emotional work because it's so close to the brain. And
Mm.
then same thing with the ears, like opening you up. The hands are great for helping you with grief, but also helping you with open up your heart and get your circulation going. And then the feet are just like an overall map.
That's
So yeah, that's where I'm
amazing.
at right now.
And that's me.
And that's me.
I love it. I love it. That's so cool. Well, your mama's in my heart. COVID was a tough year, and your fiance is a special lady too. Like to be able to hold space for someone else's passion, for you to pursue your passion. Like I'm in a similar situation right now with my partner, and they're such incredible humans. And I mean, you do have a gift with the world, and for someone to support that and for someone to hold the space for you to pursue that is very special. So that's awesome. You did have something you wanted to show. I know you have some visuals. So if someone's listening to this in the car, maybe tune into it later when you get home. But do you want to share some of that? Maybe walk us through
So,
what someone could expect if they book with you or work with you.
so I wanted to, I mean, I have props, of course, I have feet in over
Okay.
here where I like to just kind of show people it's like, you see feet, but what is it that I see? Can I give you a perspective? And when I see the feet, like, first of all, like when I look at a person's feet, the first thing I'm looking at is like, these are not feet. This is actually you. It is a
Mhm.
reflection of you. And I get so many people that go like, oh, I'm so ashamed. Oh, I'm so sorry I did not go get a pedicure. Or I'm so sorry, like I got ugly toes or I got a callus on my heel. And I'm like, why do that? Why are you shaming yourself? Because by saying you're ashamed of your feet, you're actually saying I'm ashamed of myself and a specific aspect of yourself. So I always try to like just give an education. They're a part of you. They're the ones that carry you. I spent 3 months on a wheelchair, and I can tell you these guys are very, very important to carry it around to do everything. So it's like giving them a little bit of love is another form of giving yourself love. It's just another way to appreciate. I actually just did a class that I was teaching basic reflexology techniques to show intimacy for partners. So I just got couples because I wanted to specifically because that's how I show love to Shelly. It's
Right.
just like I give her reflexology sessions, and even if it's 10 minutes, she loves it. She feels so much. I actually did one before we got on this call because she was just like, "Hey, I think I'm getting sick." I'm like, "Okay, let me see if I can help you out and trigger your immune system." So I helped her out with that. And when I did this class, I kid you not, like everybody at the end just started embracing the partner in a loving way, and you can feel the love in her. I didn't tell them to do any of that, and I'm
Mhm.
like, they got it. That's what I wanted.
Action.
So showing the love, this even just holding. I mean, like just holding a foot. I mean, this is called like the warm hug, and it's just like I'm here for you. I care about you. Is one of the things that I love telling and showing people. Another thing, so this is a bigger version of that. If people could not see it before, this is a bigger version of my card. And this map is very, very basic. There's an other side to it. It gives you different systems and stuff like that. But I wanted to show you one of the primary maps that I follow, and I have so many different maps because reflexology is it's basically depends on the person's perception, but at the end of the day, what a reflexologist really focuses on is intention. This pressure point, no matter what, for me is heart because I feel your heartbeat, and so I when you ask a reflexologist, it's like, okay, well, and this is the left foot. It's like, oh, well, I think the heart is over here because I have seen that on this section. And I'm like, well, I think the heart is over here. It changes person per person. A map is a 2D drawing. It is my job as a reflexologist to feel your energy and find out where your heart reflex actually is by observation, but also by intuition and feeling. So this is a bigger map, and this is a very detailed map of that was made by this gentleman in Great Britain called Moss Arnold, and he's from Chi Medics, and he's the one that I learned Chi reflexology from. And so it's very layered. Like you can see here on the side, and then like here's the organs, like in the middle. Um, because when you see the feet, it's like this is left side of your body, this is right side of your body, and when you split in the middle, it's like, hey, this is all that middle organ part.
Mm.
And another thing I like to tell people, because I get people, I'm like, hey, you can press harder, and I'm like, reflexology is not about how hard I can press on your feet, because a light touch pressure point is not the same pressure point as a medium touch or as a hard press. It all depends on what system I'm working on. So, like, your lymphatic system is very superficial. And then, same thing, if I wanted to go deeper, then you get sinuses. And like, if I was like looking at my belly and everything, I'm like, oh, well, here's the kidneys, and then here's the stomach. So it all depends on my pressure points and intention.
Wow. Sounds like a lot to know, but it sounds like you just know it. Like it's like, oh, this
Oh,
is
it's
yeah.
amazing. And every literally every day I have so many different books that I'm going through right now. I'm trying to specialize in autism, helping kids and teenagers that have autism so they can function better. And that's like my dream is to help them reconnect with their body.
That's amazing. And I know I have no doubt that you will do that.
Yeah.
That's incredible what we can do, isn't it? With
Hmm.
current alternative healing modalities, like it's insane. There's truly something for everybody out there. And like through the span of this podcast, having different healers on and just getting to learn a little bit deeper about their craft and how they got started and like how it's truly endless no matter what technique or modality you choose to do. Like there's endless possibilities to help and guide and just heal. It's beautiful. So I'm geeking out with you on reflexology now.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you can talk to me about reflexology. I mean, like, I'm gonna show you one of my geekiest things that I have. So I have a client, her name is Sandy. She's amazing. And I treat her daughter Kat. And she one day just showed up out of nowhere. It's just like, I have a gift for you. And I'm like, oh, what do you have? And I'm like, so I'm going to mention this name. Eunice Ingham is called the mother of modern reflexology. She's the one that kind of created all the maps that you see around. And people have been evolving maps in different ways, but the ones that we always use is ARCB because, sorry, the Eunice Ingham map, because she's the one that was standardized. So this is actually her original book.
Wow.
Sandy got this book back in the 60s from her uncle. She's like, I just bought this and I'm giving it to everybody. And I'm like, and she's like, I have kept it on pristine conditions and I'm passing it on to you because I feel like you would appreciate it. I have copies of this book, but I'm like, this is the original one. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
I love that. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Definitely a great gift for you. That's so cool.
Yeah. My next big event, and it's honestly for me, it's the biggest event of the year that everybody should definitely check out, is Soul Harmony Fest, and that's going to be in September 27th, that weekend. It's actually 15 minutes from where I work. It's in Hambry Road in Huntersville. And if you have always been curious to try any holistic modality, whether it be reflexology, shamanic drumming, or Reiki or anything, this is the place to go. And the way that you go to this, because it's a whole weekend event, last time I checked, there is 62 teachers. So when people buy their tickets, you automatically have access to all of these classes. And they're like, nobody's charging you anything extra for that. So you can literally go like, try breath work, try yoga, try dancing, try like ecstatic dancing, try like there's just so much. And then we have about 34, I believe, vendors. And we changed it up actually a little bit this year because last year there was a lot of people selling stuff.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, people don't need more stuff. You take it, you have it there, you enjoy it for a day, and then it becomes trash in your house. You don't need that. So a lot of these vendors, maybe except for like two or three, are there to show you what they can do. Like for me, I charge $30 for a 20-minute foot reflexology introductory session. And a lot of people tell me it's like, oh, why don't you charge more? You can charge 50 or $60. And I'm like, but I want to introduce people. I don't want people to go like, oh, it's too expensive. I'm not going to try because I don't have enough money. That's not fair. I am there for you guys to meet. And at the end of the day, you can take this from my word. I love this healing modality and I work with everybody, whether or not they have money. So I will always figure out a way to, as long as like their energy resonates with me, it definitely is one of those things that makes me very happy just to be able to help. Me, even yesterday, I got to help a 6-year-old. She's coming to me because she has nightmares. And I have a nightmare protocol for the face and stuff. And she loves her session. And she lays here for 40 minutes, which is a huge surprise because usually kids only last 10 minutes.
That's incredible. That
Mhm.
so I feel like you have a protocol for pretty much anything, and if you don't, I know that's like a puzzle, and it's gonna be like so exciting for you to like help a client.
Mhm.
And I wanted to point out, like, shout out to Soul Harmony Fest, Kat Harmon and her husband. Like, I'll be there too. It'll be my first year, but they're doing such awesome stuff for the community, like connecting people like you and myself and a bunch of different other practitioners. I'm really, really excited to be a part of that community. I can't wait. Like, I don't know what to expect yet because I've never been, but I'll be teaching a hatha yoga class I just found out last week. So that's exciting. And I'm excited for that whole experience. It's in Charlotte and Huntersville, like you said. I think it's 3 days. So it's over the span of a weekend.
Yep.
There's music, there's art, there's food, there's literally something for everyone. It is family friendly and it's going to be awesome. And we'll both see you there.
Yeah. And one of the best things too is like you can bring your kids. So we all love kids. We want them to have a good time. And actually, Cats gets these inflatable dinosaur costumes, and literally all the kids wear them, and then they run around chasing each other. And like on the second year of Soul Harmony, she actually made a mosh pit. Like they were all dancing with her on the stage and stuff. So that was like really, really cool.
I love that. Little tiny dinosaurs running everywhere. That sounds
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Did want to show you one more thing. It's something that I'm kind of diving into. So when I have a brand new system with online and everything, which is like awesome, great time saver, but it also gives me the ability to just like expand my knowledge with people more. So
Mhm.
one of the things that I'm doing is like when I take a client's information and they come for their second session, which usually tells me it's like they liked it, they're interested in what it's going to see. Let's dive deeper into them. I like to take a picture of the person's face,
Mhm.
their tongue, and their feet. Their tongue is because it's great for traditional Chinese medicine to read the tongue.
Mhm.
And then the face, so I can remember who it is. Because you cannot believe how many times I go to a festival, I work on people, they come here after like 6 months or something, and it's like, oh, I made your soul harmony. I'm like, I have no idea who you are, but let's see. And I see their feet. I'm like, it's literally like opening a file. And I'm like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I wanted to do this and this and this, but I would like to have that a little bit more preemptive so I can remember who the person is. So, with your permission, I want to show you what I have decided that I'm going to be doing with those pictures of people's faces and feet. And I have consent from my client to show you guys this.
Yes, I would love to see it.
So this is with the pictures of the person's face and feet. And this is a protocol to help with sinuses. There's going to be stroke techniques. There's going to be what I call the enchant points, which they are Vietnam pressure points on the face, but they're not actually pressure. You actually hold them very lightly, and they each do something very specific. And then on the other side where you see the feet, there are pressure points that I'm going to be working on depending on traditional Chinese medicine and depending on like lymphatic system. And I don't know if this allows you to zoom or not, but down here, if you're seeing what I'm seeing,
Mhm.
I put the spinal cord, which was each spinal point does specifically for this protocol.
Wow.
This is like what I love to do with these pictures of people because I'm like now I can like draw on them, and if in the future they ask me for something, it's like okay, well here I will show you how to do this, and your partner can do it for you because reflexology is really really great if you get also like partners involved. Like for example, for somebody who has autism, I would love to do a protocol once a month for the child or the teenager, but then have the parents work on them on a basic reflexology protocol every day because that's going to help them. That's going to help them reconnect and stuff.
That's awesome. So you go above and beyond by teaching the family member or the caregiver how to do things that you can just take home with you.
Yep.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
truly like integrative and really, really cool. So I have a silly question.
Yeah.
Can you zoom back into the spinal column on the foot? Because this is fascinating to me. Each point of your foot correlates to an area of your spine.
Yes.
So if you have like higher arched feet or flatter feet, does that have a correlation to like your spinal flexibility or like spinal health or anything like that? Or is there?
Yes, if you have higher arches, you will usually have uh, more soreness or pain on like your hips, your sacral, or your coccyx area, like the pelvic area, because your feet. So there's a there's an advantage to everything, but when you have high arches,
Mhm.
so and I'm just kind of like recreating it with this foot, it makes it into a spring. Every time you take a step, it's like a spring. So it's like it's sending a shockwave and you're bouncing constantly.
That makes sense.
So I those people I will usually it's like, oh, they have a high arch. That also tells me it's like, hey, maybe this is a person that loves dancing. That's another like that's a really good use. So that's like that tells me something. Somebody who has flatter feet, that usually means that they have a little bit of muscle weakness. They can also be great swimmers. Somebody who has flat feet, like they're really good they have really good feet
Mhm.
for swimming. So everybody has a different thing. The spine reflex that I have here, it's very general because I mean I didn't draw this specifically. I just kind of put it in the general area, but I wanted to have like the different like it's like, oh well, this is the eighth thoracic vertebra. This is what it does. I'm going to be working on the spleen and stuff like that.
Wow.
And this is just like one small protocol out of the hundreds that I have in my head.
Right.
And I like to, it also helps me figure out, remember things for people because I am not a great note taker, but I am great at drawing. Like when I am in class, whatever my teacher is teaching me, I am drawing it constantly because I'm like, oh, she said do it this way, did it this way. I'm not great at writing.
You're a visual learner. Yeah.
I'm a visual learner.
I'm bringing it back to that animator too. That's cool.
Hmm.
I'm very visual. So this, I did not know this and it makes sense. And it's like, it's cool to go deeper because it's like, it's your nervous system, it's your organs, it's your muscles, it's your energy, your meridians, your chi. Like there's like multiple maps and layers to all of
Hmm.
this. And wow, like it's fascinating.
And one of the things that people are like, well, I don't believe in meridians, I believe in chakras. And I'm like, and I hear you. And actually, they're actually both an intertwined system
Right.
because your chakras are your central nervous system, they're your vagus nerve.
Wow.
So they go through the middle, but then you have your peripheral nervous system, and that's what your meridians follow.
It's
So
like a
everything
web.
is connected. So I treat both because when I give a session, I'm treating the physical body, emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. So I treat all four bodies.
Awesome.
And
Wow,
then
that's
one of the
incredible.
things I did want to mention too is that when I do a session, um, I like to take my time. I give the person the time of day. I don't rush. That's enough. I work from mainly from my house, but that gives me the freedom to, I'm like, if somebody needs special attention, if you're going through grief, through depression, through sadness, through frustration, you're suffering from migraines. I'm like, okay, I am going to hold your foot and I'm going to listen what your feet are saying. And when your feet tell me I am satisfied with my care, that's when my session stops.
I can attest to that, guys. Full testimonial right now. I had two sessions with you. One with Adrienne. She has the tachyon chamber, and you guys did an amazing collaboration. And I was lucky enough to be one of the people that got to experience that. And whoa, can I just say, like, I felt so nurtured and cared for and loved from both of you guys and so supported. And then I had a one-on-one session with you and same thing, like you truly make people feel so comfortable. I'm just speaking on my own experience. It was beautiful. I fully melted into the table. Like I have TMJ, I've had jaw pain my entire life. And from the first session, it was 20 minutes with you. My jaw pain was completely gone. And it's definitely dissipated. So it's something that's carried. I feel more relaxed. Like I always hold so much tension in my neck and my shoulders. Like it feels like I just walk around the world like this. And after being with you, I was just like, like just relaxed. My whole body was lighter. I felt more balanced. I just felt better. Like, I think that's the best way to put that. Like, you go through your day to day of just like things may be heavier, you may be stressed. And over time, if you're not taking that time for self-care for yourself, which is truly like a session with you, Javier, like the best self-care you can ever give yourself, because walking out just cleansing and releasing and letting go of all the shit that doesn't serve you and help you and that you've been carrying, like you do that, you really allow and hold that space for others, and I'm grateful to have had that experience.
Yeah, and one of the things about reflexology, you put it perfectly, is that you almost felt a cumulative effect.
Mhm.
And I test everything, and I will tell if a person tells me something new, I'm like, I do not have experience with it, but I love to tackle it, and let's learn together. Or if I have experience, I'm like, okay, well, these are the examples I can give you. For example, I had a 14-year-old who had migraines for 2 months constantly. Medicine wasn't touching it. The doctors were not helping her. So she came and got a session right before Christmas. And I gave her a session in 2 weeks, no migraines. I'm like, perfect. So she had a very Merry Christmas, but then they came back. Afterwards, she came and got a second one. 1 month, no migraines, but they came back. She got a third session. It's been 2.5 years and she hasn't had a migraine because I check with her from time to time. And she's like, I have not had a migraine since then.
Wow.
So it's all about the cumulative effect. So like
Yeah.
if and I get very excited when I meet a person and I'm like, would you like to ever try this? That's because I can see your energy, I can feel your energy, and I'm like, you are somebody that I am excited to work with. If a person does not work with me, I will tell them and I'm like, hey, I don't think this is for you. Let me recommend you to like acupuncture or something like that, because that does happen from time to time. Reflexology is not the thing that will heal you completely, but it's a great support. I support things like with the chiropractor, like you just saw the joints, whatever he's working on, I love reinforcing it. Support. If you're working with a doctor and you're taking medicine, what's that medication doing? Support it. If you're doing yoga and you need like to release more emotions, I love it. Dancing, being creative, everything. I love supporting every single thing.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Hobby, so much for being here and for sharing your gifts. Like you're truly a gifted healer. You really are. And I'm grateful to know you.
Yeah, thank you for having me so much. This is an amazing experience.
I love it. Is there anything else you want to share before we close out?
If anybody has kids or teenagers that are currently struggling with any sort of emotion, I am here. I want to be here to support. Um, and a session can be something like we can do a preview to see if they like it, and I can do a 10-minute session for a kid, and then you just wait, you let them react. When kids go through traumas, or teenagers are going through traumas, their limbic system is not developed until like between 22 to 25 years old. They don't know how to share. They don't know how to tell you they're going through. So it gets stuck in their fascia. And I want to help release that. So once they're like 20 plus, you don't go through 10 years of therapy. I went through multiple therapy sessions when I was in my 20s because I had traumas, and I wish I would have just released them because I would have done so much more to this point with my life. I would have been a reflexologist when I was 25, and I would have loved to have done that. So I want to be here to support, and my knowledge is growing literally every day. I'm looking at something and I geek out. I'm like, ooh, how can I do that? So yeah, I just love sharing it with, especially with the kids and teens, because they're our future. They're the ones that are going to light up the next phase of this world.
Beautiful. And where can people connect with you? Where can people find you if they want to work with you?
So my business name is Balance and Flow Reflexology. You can go to balanceandflowreflexology.com, and you can schedule a consultation, you can schedule a session, and it'll give you all the information to how to find me and contact me. You can also go to Facebook and look up Balance and Flow Reflexology, same thing in Instagram. And I love chatting and talking. And if you call me, there's a good chance that I won't answer the phone because I'm in session. I can't answer the phone. But I always say, shoot me a text message or an email. And that's usually, and my email is Javier at balanceandflowreflexology.com.
Perfect. I will tag all of that in the description of the podcast so you guys can find it. And big thanks so much, Javier, for coming on and sharing your wisdom. Thank you so much for tuning into Wellness Wonderland. If any of this resonates, join the community by clicking that subscribe button and connect with us on social media at Wellness Wonderland Collective for daily inspiration and insights on what's going on in the community. Until next time, stay curious, stay well, and lead with love in all you do.